Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to try and answer as many of your questions as I possibly can. Okay, question number 1 from filmmaker Michael. He asked, how do you go about choosing an idea and organizing the whole shoot to editing? What's your process? The process is actually pretty simple. We sit around and we have ridiculous conversations with each other. We're really weird guys. We have kind of a weird sense of humor, so we're always saying weird stuff, talking about weird stuff, and usually what happens is one of us will say, oh, that would be a really cool idea for a video if we did that part of the conversation that we're having. Then what we'll do is write down the idea here on a sticky note, and we'll put it up here on our wall. And eventually, when either we have the means or kind of come up with a way that we can do that video, we'll end up shooting it. Okay, next question is from Wessim, I think, but it's spelled W3S1M. And he asks, or she asks, I don't know, sorry if I got your gender wrong, what console would you have the most trouble giving away, and which ones do you have fond memories of? The one that I would have the most trouble giving away would probably be one of the newer consoles, and that's only because you can emulate all the older stuff from the N64 and back. I mean, even the PS1, I can emulate those really well on my computer, so I wouldn't have much trouble giving those old consoles away, even though I have the most fond memories with the Nintendo 64. I know that Kaysen and Landon actually prefer the Super Nintendo. That's the one that they seem to like the best. So, alright, we got one from KDizzy333. Asks, thin crust or deep dish? I'm all about the thin crust. I like the thin crust pizza. I don't know about Kaysen and Landon. Pretty sure, though, I can't say for sure that they kind of like that Chicago style pizza a little better. I don't know for sure, but for me personally, I definitely like the thinner crust pizza. That's where I'm at. Okay, and this is one we've answered before, but we'll do it again. We got a question from Thick Warter. Asks, how do you learn to use the programs that you guys edit and do effects with? It's all online tutorials. If you go to videocopilot.net or aetuts.com, I believe it is. It might be aetutsplus.com or something like that. It's not hard to find, even on YouTube, people that will be willing to put together tutorials to show you how to use Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, 3ds Max, Maya, whatever it is you're editing with, Final Cut. I mean, whatever you use, there are tutorials all over the place online. Just look on YouTube and you'll find people that are willing to help you out. Okay, 2 questions from this guy. It's ComputerWiz84. What is your favorite video to date, and which was the most fun to shoot? I have a couple of favorite videos. One of them is Imaginary Warzone. It just kind of captures something that I think a lot of people have experienced in their childhood. But also the video we just barely put out today, Assassin's Creed 3, World's Highest Leap of Faith. That one I think is awesome. It's one of my favorite ones too. As far as shooting, like which one was the most fun to shoot, for me, I really had a good time shooting the Skyrim video, even though it was kind of miserable a lot of the time because I had this huge metal helmet. It was really heavy on my head, and I'm climbing up mountains, and it's in the snow, and it's really cold. But it was a really cool experience. It was a lot of fun to shoot, and also to work with the BYU Men's Chorus, to collaborate with people like Jake Justice, and that choir was just a really cool experience to hear them singing that song, 180 men together. It was a lot of fun. This guy, Gecko Altair, asks, why does your channel show a picture of Mike bald? What we did is we were using a program that generates faces, and what you do is you take you take a picture from the front and then from profile on both sides, and then the computer interprets it and creates it's called Face Gen, I think is what the program's called. I believe so. Anyways, but it generates your face. It's actually the same software that they used for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion to create the faces in that game. So what we did is we created my face in 3D, and we were thinking about maybe using it in the future for a video or something like that, but the thing is that it doesn't do hair. So the head that it creates is always bald. It doesn't render hair. So we had that sitting around on our desktop, and we were trying to create some thumbnails for these new channels, and we thought that those looked pretty funny, so we just kind of threw those. Which glide cam do you use? We get this one a lot. I will show it to you now. It is the GlideCam HD 2000. Alright, this is actually a pretty good question from Seth Phelps. He asks, how long do you guys plan on just being awesome YouTubers? Like, when are you going to go pro? I think YouTube in the future is going to be the place where major pro filmmaking is distributed. You see Hollywood films. I mean, there are certain flagship franchises like The Dark Knight, Harry Potter, Twilight, The Hunger Games is going to become one. Films like that make tons of money. They make all the money that Hollywood gets. And all the films that you see in between that, they fail. They usually don't make the budget. They usually lose money on those films. And all those films, all those experiments, are basically paid for by the tentpole films like The Dark Knight and things like that. The thing is that people don't really go to see movies like they used to, and that industry is a sinking ship. It's slowly dying. They're trying as hard as they can to keep it going, but it's just not the way of the future. I think internet distribution, where someone can get on for free and watch something and be entertained, is kind of the future of the film industry. And so I don't know what the future holds for us. I would really like to work on a major feature film that's released in theaters and things like that. And that, you know, that experience of going to the theater and watching a movie is something that I guess it's not an experience you can exactly replace in your home. But I think for the foreseeable future, the internet distribution is kind of the way that we're going to be doing what we do. Okay, here's a great one. Mr. Jab 409. Just curious, what do you guys think of Gangnam Style? Gangnam Style is freaking awesome. It's one of the funniest music videos I've ever seen in my life. We are really big into like kind of Korean culture right now. We've been watching Korean dramas on Netflix, and we really enjoy South Korean stuff. It's really cool. And so we were way into this video early on when it came out, and we've just been watching that view count just absolutely skyrocket. I think it's like over 150 million views now that video has. And we've been cheering for Psy all this time, and we just heard recently he got a deal with an American pop label. Like, he's going to be doing tours in North America now, and we're way stoked to see him when he comes here. So here's another question we've answered before from Chronic Echo. What software would you recommend for beginners who are wanting to get into filmmaking? Adobe makes really great stuff. It's a little bit intimidating at first, but it's actually not very hard to use. As long as you watch some tutorials, Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects are great. But if you don't have the money to go out and get Adobe stuff, you can use iMovie on Macs, or you can use Windows Movie Maker. And they all function very similarly. There's a timeline, you have a place where you load your media, you drag it onto your timeline, and you use tools to cut it up and do transitions and stuff, but they all essentially do the same thing. So it doesn't really matter what software you're using. Steinlover237, big fan, glad that you like our stuff and glad that you comment as much as you do. Can you put some videos you made from when you were 12? Yes, we can. We can do it. I don't know when it's going to come. They are pretty silly. They're also really long and hard to get through. So what we might do is cut them up a little bit, show scenes here and there. We did a Star Wars movie that was like an hour and 15 minutes long. And it's just the most boring, terrible thing you will ever watch. So uploading a scene here and there, maybe. Not going to upload the whole videos, unfortunately. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. No one would make it through it, and it's only funny for so long. Okay, Nengel28, I think I already answered the first part of the question on this video about what was your favorite video, the one you had the most fun shooting. But the second question is, what are your favorite YouTubers other than yourself? Our channel is not one of my favorite channels. So, but some of my personal favorite channels on YouTube are HC Bailey. He does a lot of LPs, like Let's Plays for video games and stuff like that. Of course, Freddie Wong. is amazing, the stuff that he makes. We really like Corridor Digital. We really like Julian Smith. Northern Lion does Let's Plays, and he is really, really good. Big Think is another one of my favorite YouTube channels. They basically just get a lot of philosophers or scientists and things like that, and they just kind of talk about different theories and ideas and that sort of thing. PBS Ideas channel. Gamer 360 Sports, really small channel, just a guy that we found. He gets really excited, he plays sports video games. Robaz, King of Sweden, one of the funniest people on YouTube. Film Riot's a really good place to go if you want to learn how to do a lot of different things in filmmaking. They put out a lot of good videos, not necessarily tutorials, but just kind of good tips on different filmmaking techniques. DJ Flula. Half of his stuff I really like and the other half I don't. Half of what he does, he's from Germany, and so he takes sayings that we say here in the United States that don't make a lot of sense in other languages, and he kind of just like thinks about them and tries to figure them out. DJ Flula, DJ Flula. He's really funny.